Hey everybody, Keep7 here, back with another Magic the Gathering Arena video, and today we are going to be revisiting an old archetype, one that is long forgotten and thought dead after the banning of Lucky Clover, and that is Temur Adventures. So basically what we have here is the Temur Adventure shell with Edgewall Innkeep, Brazen Borrower, Bonecrusher Giant, and Lovestruck Beast on the low end, kind of our first turns 1 through 3 play. And at the top end of our deck, we also have Beanstalk Giant as part of that that shell. But Beanstalk Giant is really kind of more part of our top end here as a mixture of Terror of the Peaks, as kind of a finisher with Terror of the Peaks, because you can get a lot of damage done in one go. And then we also have kind of like the Temur Elementals top end, like the Yorion Temur Elementals top end that had Genesis Ultimatum and Terror of the Peaks as part of our top end. And the Great Henge is just a great card draw engine. Obviously, Edgewall Innkeep is part of that card draw engine. And in most of these decks, what I've been seeing is in the 3-drop spot, people have been playing Cultivate. I found Cultivate to be a little bit clunky in a card that I never really seemed to want to or to really cast at all. So I replaced it with Llanowar Visionary, which I think does kind of what you want. When your opponent has, when your opponent has figured out or has resolved, maybe not resolved is the right word, but when they figured out how to remove your Edgewall Innkeeper, card draw is obviously a huge deal with this deck. So Llanowar Visionary is your 3-drop that will let you get card draw that maybe you lost when you lost your Edgewall Innkeep, and it also ramps you like Cultivate would anyway. Obviously, Cultivate gives you 2 lands in hand, so maybe it ramps you a little bit harder, but you can tap him to add 1 green mana, so it's not the worst thing in the world. And also, he's a body that can be triggered with a Genesis Ultimatum off of a Terror of the Peaks. And what I mean by that is if you have a Terror of the Peaks on field, you play your Genesis Ultimatum. If you hit like 2 of these, that's 4 damage. That's not nothing. And hitting a Cultivate would feel so much worse, right? So I just feel like this is a better inclusion than Cultivate. So that's the one change I made from the decks that I've been seeing. I also put in 2 Phoenix of Ash instead of 4 Ox of Agonis because I just don't have 4 Ox of Agonis. So to get into the sideboard a little bit, we have Scorching Dragonfire for decks that play, Soaring Thought Thief. This is kind of a hater for really any decks that play creatures that have 3 or higher toughness, but really I think that this is here to take care of the Soaring Thought Thieves. Mystical Dispute will help fight the counterspell battles. Phoenix of Ash and Ox of Agonis are obviously just targeted towards rogues. And then the Akroan War, probably good against Gruul, probably good against, if you're playing, any mid-range decks, this will be a great card against them. And that about does it. This deck, it would, Extinction Event is a blowout. But what I found is if you can just ramp with Beanstalk Giant and Llanowar Visionary and just get all the card draw to get all your lands out onto the battlefield fast enough, you cast the Great Henge or something. Like, even if your board gets wiped, and I've had this multiple times. I've had Ugin wipe my board. I've had Extinction Event wipe my board. And there's just so much card draw here, especially with Visionary and with Genesis Ultimatum and stuff. There's just so much to rebuild. Like where if your opponent spends their turn wiping your board, there's just so much card draw and like options here to rebuild that it really ends up not being a big deal when your board gets wiped. You just have so much value here and just so many ways to get so many creatures out on the battlefield that board wipe isn't a huge problem. So things like Ugin and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like we still have a favorable matchup against those kinds of decks. Rogues is kind of tough because our only removal is obviously things with 2 toughness or lower. We can bounce stuff with Brazen Borrower, but a lot of this stuff gets easily countered by rogues and stuff like that. And without any main deck escape cards, they can easily just fill up our graveyard and then, drown in the lock everything we try to do. But yeah, everything else. With the Yorion decks, I feel like we have a favorable matchup against Yorion decks. I feel like we have a pretty favorable matchup against Gruul. Just in that, I feel like Yorion decks are good because they generate a shit ton of value, right? But I feel like this deck can generate so much more value so much faster, and it controls the board a lot better. Where Yorion decks, they they can have these big explosive turns, but I feel like ours can be a bit more powerful, a bit faster. Where they tend to kind of durdle until they get like, and they kind of durdle and they kind of board wipe until they can figure out, their big explosive Yorion turn. I feel like with this we can get, we can get several pieces out there that give us kind of a favorable position a bit faster and put a bit more pressure on them a bit sooner. Maybe I'm wrong. Gruul is kind of a tough matchup, but I also feel like not that tough of a matchup. I feel like we are kind of favored against Gruul. We can get huge, we can get a Lovestruck Beast out there in their way quicker. We can match their Great Henge with our own Great Henge. We can get a 13/13 out there with a Beanstalk Giant eventually, just like big things that are going to get in their way that they're going to be hard for them to remove. Terror of the Peaks can obviously help wipe their board. And we can have Spikefield Hazards in here for obviously their Edgewall Innkeeps, and then also in Rogues we have it for the Thieves Guild Enforcers. And then we have our own Embercleave. We have Obosh, which kind of functions as an 8-mana Embercleave. Buy him for 3, play him for 5, and then any odd sources you have will just do, double damage? Will do double damage to that permanent or player instead. So like, and all of these cards are odd. That's why Extinction Event is a little bit of a blowout. But yeah, I mean, that's the deck in a nutshell. We're going to play some best of 1 ranked, and then we'll maybe check out some best of 3 and see if we can throw in some sideboard action here and see how we do. I tested it in 2 games last night. I lost one just from a bad draw, got a little bit mana screwed, and then I won the other one. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I lost to Mono White aggro, and I won against, it was a Yorion Doom Foretold matchup, which I feel like we have a favorable matchup there too, because our Brazen Borrowers just bounce their Doom Foretolds. It just feels really good. But yeah, anyway, let's get into some games. Alright, our next opponent for the day is Ricardo. We've had 2 games with some pretty rough draws, and drawn nothing but like big spells off the top. Like we had 3 Genesis Ultimatums come off the top of our deck in one game, and that's not an exaggeration. Chainweb Arachnia. Okay, so it looks like they're teched for Rogues. The Ozolith? That's interesting. Let's get our ramp on. This is the first game we've had where we're actually looking decent. Just go get more red. Swing in with the Lovey. Get the 5. Okay. We'll play out our Terror of the Peaks. Play out a tap land. I think we play defensive here. Okay. Let's get more green on the board. This is a 7/7. Let's get rid of some of their board. Attack with the Terror. Forgot the Gemrazor has reach. That's awkward. Doesn't matter. They didn't have much to follow up, so huge misplay. Forgot about reach, but hey, I mean, I think we were way ahead there, so that's finally a good game. I think where we had a good curve and we got everything we needed. We might have to make some adjustments to the deck, but INXS is our next is our next opponent. This is decent. It's not bad. Let's just get one down now. If we can. Okay. We can't get one down now. All right. Do you want to counter that? I have more. Would love a land off the top. Ugh. I said a land. Is he going for mill? I think we just get rid of the two. Ooh, hey, buddy. I didn't see you there. I think we just get rid of the two toughness creature while we can. Oi, caramba. Yeah, let's just play him out. Get the card draw. Hey, buddy. Voracious Great Shark. Offer the trade. It's fine with me. We have another, and we'll get a card draw off of it, even if he counters it. Red mana. He's going into the think tank for this one. And then the question is, Ashiok's a Rager. No? I think I'm just going to straight up cast. Oh, can I not? Yeah, I think we just cast Bone Crusher Giant. I guess we go green. We'll go Great Henge. Give him something he wants to counter. It's fine. All right. That's a huge draw off the top. Let's see. Not drawing lands really fucking hurts. I don't want to walk Great Henge into another counter spell, but boy oh boy. Well, he didn't have it, and he drew into it. That sucks. Let's get blue on the board, for God's sakes. And then I think we just do this. We cast the Love-Struck Beast. Get the card draw. Keep up the Brazen Borrower. Land is nice. Brazen Borrow his Sprite Dragon, so we don't lose the Bone Crusher Giant. Also take the counters off of it. You got something. What do you have? Alright, so I think we can... Oh, wait a minute. Wait a second here. Huh. This is an interesting conundrum. I can get a lot of card draw here. I could potentially kill one of these things. He can't save his Brazen Borrower, so I think we get rid of that. Let's get the Love-Struck Beast down. I mean, we're at 20 health, so... I think if we go get a blue here, we're good to cast Genesis Ultimatum. Although I think we just won, right? So, didn't even realize. Didn't even need to cast it. Alright, our next opponent is Martin DR. It's workable. And then I guess we can play our red land, hold up Bone Crusher Giant. They should attack. I'm not blocking. Thing is, we give them Great Henge pretty early. If they can get Lovestruck Beast down, I have nothing to interact with Lovestruck Beast. And a Great Henge would be very difficult to deal with. Terror of the Peaks is a good draw. Get ourselves into a little bit of a staring match. If you cast, yep, the Great Henge. Maybe I should have bounced the Lovestruck Beast. But we can bounce the Great Henge, potentially. Alright, so we can go get green. We can cast this and go get blue to bounce the Great Henge. Or do we bounce the Lovestruck Beast? Nah. Make him recast the Great Henge. Just make him have to recast it, I think, is the best play we have. Mutating a Grazer would be, or yeah, Gem Razor, not a Grazer. Gem Razor would be pretty tough. Wicked Wolf fights our Bone Crusher Giant, or Edgewall Inkeep. I would say Inkeep would be better, yeah. Okay. Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. We don't have any adventure creatures that we can... So maybe we just do this. Get more red. Do we take a turn off? Can we afford to even do that? What is Genesis Ultimatum? 3 blues, 2 reds, 2 greens. Just get another island. So they could really have a huge turn here. Should not be fun. Genesis Ultimatum off the top would be fucking sweet. Though we can Terror, and then what can we follow Terror up with? A Brazen Borrower, get 3 damage in somewhere. Take care of their Gilded Goose, I guess. I don't know. This hurts. That hurts a lot. Wow. Do we risk it, or do we play Beanstalk Giant? Get an 8/8 in their way. man. Decisions. If we cast this, we only have 3 mana left over. Let's just go for it. I think this is the only thing that'll get us ahead. Wow. That's not it. That's not it, Chief. Ugh. They're so far ahead. Oh, damn it. That sucks. Our next opponent is GodKing.D. This is a weird hand. I don't think we play that. I think we play this. I think it's too early for a Genesis Ultimatum. Pray to God we find a land. Okay, so enchantments. Wow. A Bloodchief's Thirst on a 1/1 token. Okay. Missing a land drop is pretty shitty. We should probably save our next one for a Luris. Missing a land drop really fucking hurts. Missing a land drop really fucking hurts. Guess we probably should have done that a while ago, but who would have guessed? This is ridiculous. Bone Crusher down. It's fine. We've literally drawn all of our Love-Struck Beasts. Would be so nice to have an Edgewall and keep out there so I could just get card draw, but nope. Yeah, let's develop our mana now, for the love of God. We got 2 reds, let's get that out there. Hold up Bone Crusher, I guess. Is it even worth attacking with the token? Hey, buddy. What do you want? What's up, buddy? If they want to keep using their mana for that, I'm fine with that. Wow. Okay. Can you deal with a 7/7? More Heartless Act? Jesus Christ, dude. Just fucking removal central. My God. We've gotten him down to 7 life, and I don't know how. We've just been casting creatures, and he's just been removing them. There we go. Gotcha. There we go. Wow, that was such a rude deck, dude. Just removal tribal. Holy hell. We pulled through, though. So yeah. The games went kind of rough. I think we were... Let's see. I don't know if you can see my stuff, but... Alright, so we went 4 and 5 with this deck. Not bad, not great. I think this stands up to a lot of the decks that are out there right now. It generates a lot of value, but when you're playing things like Rogues, it can be kind of rough, and when you're playing Removal Tribal, it can be rough, but as you saw, even when your opponent's deck would look like it was like 90% removal, we were able to outvalue them, because eventually they can't stop the value generated by Genesis Ultimatum. I don't know what I would change. Maybe Llanowar Visionary isn't the right call, because I felt like a lot of times we just needed to develop our mana. So maybe even what you should do is cut a few Llanowar Visionaries, and maybe even a Spikefield Hazard, and just put in more lands, because you just have to hit your land drops. If you don't hit your land drops with this deck, you lose. And like 3 Beanstalk Giant activations might not be enough, so maybe Cultivate is the answer. Maybe you have to play Cultivate, but I mean, even so, we never even saw our Llanowar Visionaries that much in the game, so I don't know. How many lands does this even run? I didn't even look. 23 land? 24, 25. Yeah, I would run more lands, to be honest. I would cut, like, maybe 1 Terror, 1 Llanowar Visionary, and maybe even not a Spikefield Hazard, but maybe just like 1 Llanowar Visionary, 1 Terror of the Peaks, and then just put in 2 more lands, because missing your land drops is just fucking brutal. Just, it's unacceptable. You just lose. So that'd be my recommendation, and it might be what I end up doing, because you need lands. You absolutely unequivocally need them. So like, cut these 2, and then put in like 2 more Fabled Passage maybe. So that way we have what, 25 lands. I'd say that's better. You got to hit your land drops. If you're gonna cut Cultivate, I'd say you'd want to do something like that. You don't need 4 Terror of the Peaks, especially with a top end that is just so heavy. You got 8, 8 here, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 top end spells is a lot. And as you saw, we had one game where we totally drew out our entire, like the entirety of our top end. We drew 3 Genesis Ultimatums before turn 4, or before turn 5. So I'd say that this is a better way to run it. You're only splashing blue for the Brazen Borrower, so maybe you could even just do like Gruul. I mean, I guess you also need it for the Genesis Ultimatum. And Brazen Borrower is just a fantastic card, but yeah, I mean, overall it performed pretty well. You can definitely win games with this, and it has some favorable matchups. So yeah, I had some fun. Hope you had some fun watching. Again, you know, you can switch out the Llanowar Visionary for a Cultivate, and I think that's fine. I would swap out. I think this is the deck I'm going to submit for the deck list down in the description, so check that out. But yeah, the original deck list had 2 less Fabled Passages and 1 more Terror, 1 more Llanowar Visionary. Or the original deck had 4 copies of Cultivate. I switched it out for Llanowar Visionary. I think it's just better, but it's up to you. So let me know, you know, if you're playing this deck, if you like it, if you're getting some wins out of it. And yeah, catch you in the next one.